Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. But then again, you know that, don't you? Because that's why you've tuned in. First of all, before I introduce my next guest, I want to thank all them people for joining members area, and I want to thank all you people that are watching the videos longer than what you have been. Because on the analytics, we're now up to like 81% people are watching them longer, so that's good. Uh, Today I'm joined by Kent from Belfast in Northern Ireland, aka the Hardcore's Hardcore. How you doing? How you doing, Kent?
Good morning, Russell. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. That seems to have stuck with you, doesn't it? The Hardcore's Hardcore.
That is, whoever christened me that is on to something good. They've just come up with something funny, and it stuck. So yeah, I could call it worse.
Be called worse. All right. Now, a lot's gone on since we last spoke. So we'll just jump in balls deep with Shite Camp. What do you think to it? Sorry, Fight Camp. What do you think to it?
It reminded me a wee bit, Russell, of back in the day when Lanny McLean fought Man Mountain York in an abandoned football ground. It looked a bit like that, but only with the prawn sandwich brigade. I didn't really see anybody there at all. It had no atmosphere. People looked bored. Did they sell? Did they actually sell any tickets to it, Russell?
Well, this is what I personally think happened, guy. Now, Eddie Earn's a confidence trickster, and he's also an entrepreneur. He's trying to create something, an illusion that's not there. That all these people want to come and buy £800 tickets because that's what it is with booking fee. And I think what he's done is probably comped loads of people. Because I've been comped to Feddy before, and he would hand the tickets out willy nilly at a Kel Brook show once, 670 quid a pop, these tickets. And I think what he's done is created this illusion that everybody wants to go to see these 800 quid back garden shows. And I don't really think that that's the case, but he's trying to create something that isn't there. Because a lot of people that I saw that were there were people that would normally be comped anyway, his little clique and sponsors and people with money. In general, it looked to me like it was a load of people with a few quid mingling with a load of people who've got a few quid as well. And there were no riffraff, nobody from council estates there, drunk and abusing Eddie or anything like that. It just looked like it was all a controlled environment. To me, that's what I personally think. But what he will take from it is this: that everybody now wants to come to these shows. Well, this is probably what he thought before the show. After, people were probably thinking, what a load of shite. Because you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a dog shitting in your garden. You've got to clean it up, haven't you? Because it leaves stains, doesn't it? That's what it reminded me of. And that show left stains on the boxing community as a whole. That's my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I thought it was terrible. I didn't enjoy it. It was just. It seemed forced and false the whole time. The crowd looked completely bored. It didn't look like it was boxing people there. When there's boxing people there watching a fight, they'll get involved. They'll get attached to the fights, and it didn't seem that way. It was just a terrible. I didn't enjoy it. The whole. It just seemed staged. It just seemed like something like out of WWE, and it looked like it was just famous people or rich people there. It wasn't, as you say, working class. It wasn't for the minorities. So I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. And I think you're right. I think he's looking to establish this as a standard now, so he can do 3 to 6 of these a year, and people now will under the illusion, yeah, it was busy and it was sold out, and he's trying to create this. Oh, let's go to fight camp now. Sure, all those other people did. Well, they were all complimentary people there anyway. But I just really did enjoy the whole event. It just lacked a lot of atmosphere.
Well, I felt that it was a 3 out of 10 going into the last fight, and I think Lee Wood turned it into a 6 out of 10. But up till then, it was a 3 just for effort, and I think Lee Wood saved the show. But we'll get on to Lee Wood in a minute. But what do you think to the old production and the old build up to it and launch party and all that? I mean, didn't we have a launch party a few months back or last year when it also? What? Dazzle. Or was that America?
The lunch party, Russell, was just cheap and nasty. It looked like something out of a reunion reality Z-list reality TV program. I didn't know half the people. It was absolutely shocking. I actually stopped looking at the interviews because I actually felt like a 60-year-old man watching it, like being out of touch and not knowing anybody. It was just really, it was the cringeworthy. A lot of the interviews were absolutely cringeworthy. So I stopped watching them. I thought the production of the show, it was cheap. You could see the difference in what Sky do compared to what they're doing now with their budget. They look like they're scrimping every single penny. I thought the camera work in the ring was terrible. It wasn't Sky do multi-shot, multi-angle. I didn't see that on Saturday night at all. And I thought the presentation of interviewing and the hosts was shocking. Absolutely. You've got Maya Jama there, who what she knows about boxing, you could put in the back of a postage stamp. She looked like some girl that would be standing outside a nightclub smoking a cigarette on a Saturday night.
Did she call Tommy McCarthy Paul McCartney within the first 2 minutes of the show?
She did, yeah, and she didn't even know what the titles were. She said Lee Wood's title was WA title. She called Lee Woods several times, so she didn't even know the fighters' names. At least she could have done was write the names down in a piece of paper or read auto cue, because that's her job. I thought Tony Bellew was shocking. Tony Bellew would say anything because that's his job now. He is a company man, and I thought the commentary was worse than it was on Sky. Worse.
What you've got to understand is, what is Tony Bellew going to do if he doesn't hula hoop Eddie Hearn? He's not going to get a job, is he? And from what I've heard, he's not exactly Mr. Big Businessman, so he probably needs the work, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he was sent to Coventry by Sky because he was screaming and crying at the Chisora fight. Next week, Jazza Dickens is fighting. I'll be interested to see what his role will be in the studio, with having somebody working alongside somebody so closely. Will there be an incident again like the Chisora fight?
Can I just say that all them people watching the Kid Galahad and the Jazza Dickens fight, the word on the street and round the campfire is that if it's a close fight, they're going to have a rematch. So get your money on a draw. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Could you imagine if they gave it to Jazza or Yazza, whatever his name is, and he clearly lost? Oh, Kid Galahad would feel really victimised, wouldn't
he? What did you think of the commentary at the weekend, Russell? What did you think of it?
Thought it was pony.
Why is that?
I think that they didn't say anything there. There's too many people not wanting to upset the pals. It's like an old boys club. But whereas if I watch Graham Souness and Roy Keane and Micah Richards on Sky, they're going to go in on their former teammates or friends. They're not bothered. They're doing the job.
Yeah.
And all the football lads understand that. But whereas in boxing, everybody's so insecure, aren't they? And you've got like Chris Lloyd. He didn't want to say anything good about Chris Billum Smith because he's friends with Frampton, isn't he?
Yes, very close friends. He just seemed to be terrified to highlight anything that Chris Billum Smith did in case he annoyed Clark Frampton.
I mean, it's easy for us to say in hindsight, you know, watching it, we're sat at home, aren't we? And we're giving an opinion afterwards. But how can boxing move forward when we've got people who don't do their jobs? Now, for example, Ian Dark, Jim Watt, people like that, Glenn McCrory, they're not going to do anybody any favours, are they? Because they're polished at the job, they've been doing it years. This new lot, they just want to be out there promoting themselves. It's a bit like Michelle Joy Phelps, isn't it? Every interview that she does, she has to be stood next to the person she's interviewing. She's not behind the camera, is she? Like most of them, she's in front of it. And that's because she wants to make it about her. Everybody wants to promote themselves. It's like Gareth A. Davis. He's in every interview, just like Michelle Phelps, isn't he? The guy, the middle-aged nigga.
But he opened up the card and he said, "This is fight camp. This is when boxing started back last year from the pandemic." It didn't. I'm sorry, Chris, but it was actually Frank Warren had the first show the week before, so he was wrong there. I thought, listening to Darren Barker, you know, Darren Barker was coaching Dave Allen at the time, and whenever Dave Allen had a loss and wanted a comeback fight of an 8-rounder, he wouldn't do it.
But he would have. He were going to do it for the bar fight, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he wanted to do it for Daniel DeBar fight because he were getting paid well, wasn't he? Or got offered good money.
He didn't want to do it because there was less money.
Yeah, we know what they're fucking about, that show.
Yeah,
don't we?
So he was on talking about boxing and how fighters should do stuff, and like, when did Darren Barker become this knowledge of boxing technique and what fighters need to do? He didn't want to train Dave Allen for his comeback fight. So what's he talking about?
He wanted to put him in ring with Dubois though for 10% of 350 grand though, didn't he? he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to. He didn't want to do it for 10% of 250 grand, but he wanted to do it for 10% of 350. When Dave said, "No, we're going to go a different route. I'll be fighting for 10 grand and you'll be getting a grand," he were like, "Whoa, I think you should retire, Dave." Yeah, okay. Darren Barker, we're on to you, you fucking no good cunt.
What did you think of Andy Lee in the Chris Billum Smith McCarthy fight?
Well, I think Andy Lee's turning into a company man as well, because they all want to keep the jobs, don't they? Nobody dare say a word, mate. Nobody dare say. I know he's your fellow countryman and all that, but these people are not going to rock the boat. They've got a good little gig going, and they're not going to rock it. They're going to go, "Yes, Eddie, no, Eddie, 3 bags full, Eddie, and 6 bags full on a Sunday." That's just my opinion, mate. I don't know. What did you think about it?
Usually I enjoy listening to Andy Lee on the radio. Yeah. I think he's really, really good. But on Saturday night there, I thought he went into Ben Davison mode. And
Ben Davison mode.
He was, it was kind of sounded to me a bit like Andy Lee, the Irishman, against Pete Taylor, the Irishman, the two coaches. It sounded like Andy Lee was kind of given, it was like, "I'm given the best instructions here from ringside. He's not doing this. He's got this bad habit. He should be moving his feet a wee bit forward and in here." And it just turned a wee bit technical. It sounded a wee bit like, "Yeah, I'm the better coach here. This is what you should be doing," where he needs to be commentating on the fight rather
exactly. There's too many of them. They go off on a tangent instead of just sticking to what they're there to do. Commentate on both men in the ring. I don't want to hear about the stamp collections. I don't want to hear about what tattoos they're having next. I don't want to hear about how many hills they've run up. What I want to see is commentators talk about the action in the fucking ring. That's what we want to see, mate. If you watch Ali against Foreman, you hardly hear anything. You just when a punch connects, that's it. You don't hear them going on about other things outside of boxing or technique and stuff like that. Let's talk about the action. That's just how I feel.
I thought, Russell, that was a very, very good domestic fight, and I thought the commentary destroyed it because there was so much in that fight.
What, McCarthy, Bill and Smith?
Yes, yeah. There was so much drama in that fight. It was on a knife edge, and they just ruined it. They didn't really seem to tap into what was actually happening in the fight. It was a British Commonwealth European title fight. It's not very often that actually happens now. And as I say there, it was such a good, competitive, well-matched fight. There was so much going on. And Andy Lee's talking about bringing his feet back a wee bit more and spiking the jab a wee bit quicker and what he needs to be doing and what he doesn't do. And he doesn't do this. And nothing was really getting said at all about Chris Bellum-Smith. I thought they ruined that fight.
Well, Andy Lee needs to concentrate on himself because he wasn't doing any of that when Billy Joe put him on his arse twice, was he? Know what I mean? So everybody's an expert, just like us, after the fact. Just a quick run through the card. Campbell Hatton, the feather duster man, against whoever he was. I can't even remember his name. Somebody that were dug up. I had it a draw. What did you have it, Ken?
I had it really tight. I had it 3-1.
Campbell.
To Campbell, 3-1. I thought one of the rounds was really, really tricky. Really tricky. I think it was round 3 that was a really tricky round. I think he needs a lot of work. I think Ricky's being really selfish with him, and I think he needs to go away and do something like a Steve Wood type shows, John Pegg's shows up and down the country, learn his craft. I think he's on these big shows getting this exposure. I think it's unfair on him, and I don't think he's anywhere near ready, anywhere near it.
Ozzie Smith said last night on Boxing Asylum that he feels that Campbell Soups is going to need 20 fights before he even goes for an area belt or something. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Do
you think that he might be best off doing a Conor Benn and just disappearing and just working on a style and that kind of thing and learn how to punch and that, because he keeps trying to do that shot that his dad used to do, the left
1-2 hook. Yeah. Russell, I remember when Eubank Jr. turned pro, and I know we've spoke about him, and he's not everyone's cup of tea, and his dad. But Russell, his dad actually had 3 trainers lined up for him, and he had to do something like 6 months a trainer. He worked with Eddie Mustafa Muhammad for a while in Top Rank Gym.
Floyd Mayweather Senior.
He worked with Floyd Mayweather Senior, and he worked with Mike McCallum, the body snatcher.
And he went.
So he was.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Russell.
No, I'm going to say, and he did a week with the Dark Lord, Adam Booth. He did a week with Adam Booth, and it didn't work out.
So he done that there kind of apprenticeship a year before he turned pro, working and learning different types of styles and trying to learn. I think that's what they need to do with Campbell. I don't think he should be on these these shows. He is not ready. It's not fair on him. He is not. He is definitely not ready. He's alone. He seems to be the habits he's got. They seem to be getting worse with each fight.
Do you feel that they'll keep wheeling Campbell out until he gets beat, or do you think they'll protect him?
I think they're protecting him a lot now. I don't think they can protect him any better than they are now. He walked out there and he had 6 big sponsors across, so he's getting big money for those sponsorship badges. So he will be getting that exposure. I think he's probably got a contract that says that he's on a 10 fight deal, that all those 10 fights that he is on TV or on the broadcaster that he's with. So I don't think they'll do that with him. I don't think. I think he's going to get the same type of opponents. It's going to be every week. Yeah, he's learning on the job, isn't he? He's only had X amount of amateur fights. So I think they're just going to do what they've been doing now for the next probably 2 years.
Don't forget, Eddie Hardy, who was on my channel a few years ago, punched Campbell Soup upside down in amateurs, punched him all over. And nobody gives Eddie Hardy a mention in boxing. And he's red up round here. He's been asked to train at EIS. I think he might have trained up there actually. He's the next star from round here. Steffi Ball and Dennis, all them want to sign him. He's trained by John Loosemore. He lives in he's from Woodlands, sorry. But Eddie Hardy, remember that name? He punched Campbell Hatton all over. And where's his sponsors, Eddie's?
It's just nepotism, Russell. They're just using him because of his name. And Eddie's just using him because of his name. And Ricky Hatton's just so selfish because he's getting a bit of limelight now. It's just a bit of exposure for him.
You know, Ricky Hatton, he loves the limelight, loves it. Ricky Hatton loves the limelight. Can't let it go. Can't let it go, mate. Can't let it go. It's sad to see.
Ricky Hatton was probably one of my favorite fighters growing up as a kid. And I just loved Ricky Hatton. I seen all his fights from Dylan Carew fight the whole way through. And I just loved Ricky Hatton. And I met him once. And I was really disappointed, to be honest.
Well, you're not missing anything, let me tell you. You're not missing a thing. All right, then. Sandy Ryan won. What do you think about her? Do you think she goes all the way?
Yeah, she's decent enough. It's kind of that level of ladies boxing where you've got somebody coming through that's a prospect, and you've got somebody there that's brought in that isn't really of a great standard. It's hard to really say yet. I don't know, because the standard of opposition she's boxing isn't really that great. So I'm not going to get carried away with her and say she's going to be this, she's going to be that. The depth in ladies boxing at the minute from top to bottom is terrible. So
who's Sandy Ryan advised by? Is it Scam Jones?
Well, her brother actually, he coaches her and helps her out. I think he does. Dave Ryan, the former pro. Yeah. So I think he's helping her out there. So at least she's got somebody that actually knows about boxing. She speaks really, really well. She's a great personality. She's I like her. I hope she does well.
All right then. We spoke about Campbell Soup, about Sandy Ryan. We've spoke about we're going to speak about Tommy McCarthy, Billum Smith. We spoke about that, but what do you think to the subplot with McCarthy, Billum Smith? You know, with Barry McGuigan and Shane McGuigan and Carl Frampton. What do you think to all that? I bet you were working yourself up into a frenzy, weren't you, Ken?
Oh, loved it. I loved it. I thought, do you know what? I thought the first time they bumped into each other in the corridor in the lift, it wasn't. I don't like seeing all the bad blood between them. I know they've had a court case and all, and I'm not the biggest Barry McGuigan fan in the world. I just don't like seeing all that badness between everybody. I know it happens in boxing, but I noticed the Shane and Carl altercation in the lift. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the two of them, it was just like kind of like a bit of spiteful banter between them. Then I seen Carl in watching the hand wrap, and Barry was right behind him watching him. I thought it
Barry's put some timber on, hasn't he?
He has. But Barry's always like that. Barry's training, doing weights 3 and 4 times a week. He keeps himself pretty handy.
I like Barry McGuigan. I like him a lot, and And I've had correspondence with Barry over the years, emails and stuff, and I think he's a great guy. But you can get victimised for saying that. Well, some people can, but it don't bother me. I like him. He's never done no wrong to me. I followed him as a kid. I had the 1985 Barry McGuigan Adidas poster on the wall. Oh, wait, Cagoule. You had them Adidas Cagoules. Do you remember them? Barry McGuigan, when it's super featherweight world champion 1985, I had all that. And I like him, and I like the fact that he stood up to Barney Eastwood, even though he got beat twice in court and bankrupted himself more or less. I like him, and I thought he was a fantastic fighter. He beat a pound for pound great with 20 defences, didn't he? You know, nobody could take that off him. So I like him, mate.
Barry McGuigan, as a boxer, what he done for Northern Ireland was, at a time, leave the fighting to Barry. He was an incredible role model.
Yeah.
He give people a lot of hope when there was no hope.
He did, mate. He did.
As a boxer, he was just like, I idolized him as a kid, to be honest. I just spent hours watching him, training footage, fights of him. He done so much. I've had a couple of run-ins with him. I've always found, I was I'm not going to go into it, but I just found it was disappointing. But I can't take anything away done in his career. You know, Russell, he went to the Commonwealth Games as a 17-year-old and won the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Then the Commonwealth Games.
Well, that's 78 in 1978 in Edmonton.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And he get dropped in the semi-final.
He went to Moscow as well, didn't he? 1980, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't medal there, though, did he?
No. And that's after he turned pro. But you can't take away what Barry McGuigan done as a professional fighter and as an amateur. It's incredible. His insight in boxing still, and I liked him as a commentator. I thought he was an absolutely brilliant commentator as well. But going back to the Frampton and the McGuigan thing, I thought it was funny. You know, Carl paid his way there. It wasn't like Eddie was manipulating it. Tommy McCarthy and Carl Frampton have been mates since they were teenagers. They went to high performance together, and you can't criticize him for wanting to go and help his mate out and wind up the McGuigans. And it was entertaining. So I've nothing against it, to be honest.
Hey, listen, it could have gone either way, that decision, couldn't it? What did you think to the scoring?
I thought the scoring, either way, the 115, 114 was where it was at. They could have went either way. I don't know what Ian John Lewis is saying. I think the British Boxing Board of Control need to go and invest in laser eye surgery for Ian John Lewis. You know, this seems to be all the time.
You know, my inbox.
He's making these decisions.
You know, my inbox on a Monday morning. My inbox on a Monday morning is usually chocker with complaints every Monday or every other Monday with Ian John Lewis complaints. Now, Ian John Lewis, people say, yeah, Porky, he's an ex-fighter. We need more ex-fighters reffing and judging. No, we fucking don't. If he's an ex-fighter, he knows that certain promoters have got to be kept fucking sweet, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Yes. That's the problem. Ian John Lewis, people like him are the fucking problem in boxing, mate. Do you remember when he stopped that Enzo McAnally fight? Or didn't he stop at one of them really quick? Were he fighting somebody? The Nottingham kid or something? Shane McPhilbin?
Shane McPhilbin, yes, the cruiserweight guy.
Wasn't that the Ian John Lewis? Look, Ian John Lewis, you're the Albert Trotter of boxing, mate. Get fucking out of dog. He don't know what he's doing, does he? If he were on a boat, it'd sink, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I just think that Ian John Lewis, he always seems to pull a rabbit out of the hat for own promoter every time. Time in, time out, mate. And you know what? He did it yet again, didn't he? What fight was he watching? And what had he been smoking? And nobody's allowed to criticise these fuckers, are they? Nobody's allowed to do it. Do you know why? because they wheel Robert Smith out to say, well, people on social media don't deserve an opinion. Who the fuck is he, Robert Smith, to say that? Hey, who the fuck is he?
He's the problem with what's wrong with the British Boxing Board of Control. That's why I'm not even going to go into it. I'm not going to rub it on. That's another topic.
Okay then, so we've covered all that then. The only fight left to cover is the one that I got wrong. I said that Zucan or Candu or whatever it's called, on Pong or whatever his name. I said he'd beat Lee Wood and he didn't. The guy was the worst champion to ever come over here since Charlie Martin. Do you agree, Ken?
I was baffled. I had been reading all this stuff all week about this monster coming over. I seen Pedro Diaz in the corner. He's one of the world's best coaches. I'm sure Josh Warrington is absolutely kicking himself right now.
He will be. He will be, but you've got to look at it like this. Josh Warrington's team need to be kicking themselves because they took a fight with a Mexican or they couldn't even get any footage on. They couldn't get any footage of this Mexican kid because the Mexicans took it off YouTube. So they were going into a fight like, oh, we don't know anything about this guy, so why take the fight? Would you buy a car on phone without test driving it? No, you wouldn't, would you? So why would you fight somebody who you've never seen fight? Hey? Who's advising Josh Warrington? Who advised him to do that? Did they take Eddie's word for him? Look, Eddie don't care about them. He cares about money and subplots. He don't care about Josh Warrington. He left him to go to Warren. He don't care for him and he can't deliver for him. Yeah, they're going to fight Eddingley in that, but he's a massive, massive underdog in that fight. And he's probably got miles on clock now, Josh Warrington. And it's an hard fight for him, that fight. It's an hard fight for him. And there's chinks in armour in his team and stuff like that. And there's been changes. Look, Josh Warrington's overachieved. We all know that, don't we? But they've done best they can and they made a lot of money. But I just feel that they could have been a bit smarter in the matchmaking. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, if you put Lara in there and you put Zucan in there, Lara would absolutely run through Zucan in about 4 rounds. He'd run over him.
He'd go through him like a hot knife through batter. That's what he'd do, mate. It'd be a bloodbath.
I was expecting an Indian Chi type Asian fighter coming over, big, strong, aggressive. He didn't even look in the same weight division as Lee Wood. He didn't even look. He looked so frail, and I'm thinking after round 1, I said to myself, he's going to beat him. He's not strong enough. His punches had nothing in them. I was really, really disappointed with Zucan. I thought he was being billed as this Asian monster that throws 120 shots around, and he just got beat up.
Eddie were bigging this up as the new Anayu, wasn't
he? Yeah, and I kind of bought it. I didn't buy it. I kind of bought it because I'm thinking this guy, you know, he had this big deal over in America. You know, he was meant to have this fight with Josh Warrington. He'll have big numbers in Asia. I'm looking at all the old Asian fighters that used to come over to UK, and I seen this guy, and it was like, I couldn't believe how poor he was. He had nothing in his punches, and I'm not surprised that Lee Wood actually did stop him, because I could think of better fighters out there for him to fight, and they aren't world champions.
Well, the guy was shit anyway. But well done to Lee Wood. Moving on from that, Lee Wood won. I got it wrong. Fair enough. Put my hand up. But can I just say this? Is Ben Davidson going to let Lee Wood have his moment, or is Ben Davidson going to be doing 10 sermons a day for next week?
You know, I seen the interview at the end, and I seen the lad was emotional. You know, Lee Wood's come up the hard way. He's worked on, you know, Steve Wood shows, John Pegg. He's done small hall shows his whole career. He's fought everybody domestically. He's won, he's lost. He's 33 now, so it's his last chance. It's a Cinderella story. He's won a world title. I'm delighted for him. I hope it changes his family's life. And Ben Davison's are just making it all about Ben Davison again. Just let the guy get an interview on him by himself.
What did you think? What did you think to Coogan? Arselicking Ben Davidson, shouting across ringside or something after. Did you see it?
Sure, they're all buddies. They're all mates.
MTK in it. Do you feel that if Josh Warrington loses in Edinburgh, that they'll do a farewell Josh Warrington fight and let him go out in a fight against Lee Wood and get Lee Wood paid? You think they'll do that?
That's what's going to happen. That's the logical. That's the logical matchup there, because I can't see Josh Warrington beating Lara again. I can't see it. I think for Lee Wood, there's a lot of good domestic fights out there at the minute. A lot. You know, you've got the winner of Jazza Dickinson and Kid Galahad. You've got Josh Warrington. So yeah, there's a lot there for them to make some money out of, and I just hope that he gets a couple of defenses and he gets a good paydays, because he seems like a decent lad. But you know, he's only been with Ben Davison 10 months. You know, he's had a career working with other coaches. He said at the end, you know, I'm a full-time fighter. I can take a fight at short notice. Well, he looked it, because he looked in absolutely great condition. He looked strong. He looked fit. He was carrying nothing. So it has to go down to him, because he's the guy that's actually kept himself fit his whole career and kept himself in that opportunity to get that opportunity.
What do you think to Dave Caldwell jumping in ring after the fight for the photograph? All smiles and that, but behind the scenes, everybody in boxing industry knows that Caldwell wanted Jordan Gill, Jordan Gill versus Kanzu, you know, for the WBA regular bout. So do you feel that it would have forced smile from Pee Wee Penfold? What do you think?
It's false smiles every single week, every single opportunity with him. I texted you, remember, a couple of months back, and I actually called that Jordan Gill would fight Kanzu. The WBA instilled him at number 3 in the WBA rankings. So I'm sure he was absolutely gutted by that. But we all know anyway, they're all networkers. There's nothing real about any of these things. I wouldn't believe a word any of them said. So yeah, he's just in there networking again and arse kissing. That's all they seem to do, to be honest.
Do you think that Jordan Gill, Lee Wood, Warrington, and Josh Whale would be a good quartet to all have a few fights? What do you think?
Yeah, it's good, because it's all domestic, and what I think is going to happen now with the Matchroom DAZN, they have less of a budget, so they're not going to want to fly fighters in from South America, across the world. It costs hotels, it costs travel expenses, COVID tests. So you're going to see a lot more domestic fights happening. You know, I think it's like this, Russell. You know, you got Lee Wood who came in at 6-week notice and fought Kanzu, won the world title. He fought Josh Whale and just kind of mid-level of his career. So it just shows you how bad a matchmaking the Lara and Josh Warrington fight was, when they could have probably bought in Josh Whale for that fight and had something more in-house. But yeah, why not? Why not? They're all at you know, Josh has got an IBO title. He has got a good record of fighting everybody. Why not? Why not?
He's been in with Galahad, Dickens, Gavin McDonald twice. You know, so he's still training hard, Josh. You know, he'll be in big fights from now on. They'll not be. His dad's not going to put him in just to make numbers up. If they fight again, they'll be in a proper fight. Okay then.
We didn't cover Cullen and Yildirim.
Yeah. Cullen, that's what I'm coming to now. Cullen. What did you think to that fight, Jack Cullen, Yildirim? Did you think that too much is made of the fact that Yildirim's been in with Canelo when really he got flogged, didn't he, by Canelo? So do you think that a lot of people are making a big issue out of the fact that Yildirim's claim to fame is that Canelo knocked me out early? Do you think
Well,
what do you think?
Yildirim hasn't won a fight since 2018, Russell.
Yeah.
So there's no shock there. There's absolutely no, he got absolutely knocked unconscious by Eubank Jr. I thought he was terrible in the Canelo fight. He done nothing. He looked terrified to even lift his head, drip and tap. Is it a good international win? It's a good international win, but Yildirim isn't even European level, never mind world level, never mind fringed. He is an international standard fighter.
He's
That's
English level, mate, he is. And Cullen's English stroke British.
It's a good win for him, but it's not like he's ready for a world title now because Yildirim isn't a world-class fighter, Russell.
Frank Smith from Matchroom, he's Eubank's sister, isn't he? Well, he's been telling people that he's been speaking to Eubank about fighting Canelo. Now, I mentioned it on my channel that basically is in talks. If CEO at Matchroom was talking to brother-in-law about fighting Canelo, so that's in talks, isn't it? People abuse me on it in emails, saying Eubank didn't deserve a fight with Canelo, but yet. How long ago was it that Yildirim were fighting Canelo? Was that last year?
Yes, December was it? December, January.
And you've just seen Yildirim in with Jack Cullen. And if you put Jack Cullen in with Eubank, people will be screaming it's a mismatch. So all them people that abuse me in them emails, there you go. But the point I want to make is that sooner or later, Canelo's got to get beat. He can't have it all his own way. He's been fighting 15 years now as a pro. Sooner or later, the odds turn, the landscape turns, and you've just got to keep putting that 50 quid on every fight. You never know, he might get knocked out and you'll get paid out, won't you? Because sooner or later, the bubble will burst. I don't see him doing a Chavez and going 80 odd wins on trot. And he had a lot of gifts, didn't he? Let's have it right. Pernell Whitaker took him to school, didn't he? Meldrick Taylor were robbed, wasn't he?
Yeah. The Frankie Randall was disgraceful rematch. They had the rematch clause that it was a Don King contract, so it meant that he had to be out within 12 weeks again. And that was an absolute robbery. I think he got it on a cut eye, am I correct? But and people seem to forget as well with Chavez, Russell, Chavez was fighting guys in between world title fights. He was fighting 10 and 14 and 6 guys. He was fighting a lot of journeymen in between world title defenses as well. So it wasn't like he was fighting like world level fighters every defense. He was having 10 rounders in between fights. But the point I want to make with the Canelo going up to light heavyweight, there's Ramirez up there who has signed with I think he signed with Golden Boy now. It didn't work out with him at Top Rank. And he was the WBO super middleweight champion and had a massive fallout, I think, with Bob Arum, and it didn't work out. So he's screaming for the Canelo fight. He's a southpaw. He can punch. He's very rangy. I think he's the guy that could beat him. And Canelo is turning around saying now that, I don't want to fight a fellow Mexican. It's not fair on our people. He's saying that for a reason.
Okay, then. I think that's more or less covered the shite camp, hasn't it? Basically.
Yeah. What
Right.
did you rate the show?
I gave it a 6, but going into the Lee Wood fight, into the last fight, it was 3 out of 10, and that were only because they managed to get some out there because they'd had pullouts. But my argument with all that, right, like Anthony Fowler. Anthony Fowler's nearly 31, isn't he? So why is he next gen and all that kind of thing? It's like I spoke to Terry about it yesterday. This 2016 generation from a Coley, Boazzi, Fowler, all them boys, Joe Joyce and them. This 2016 generation, they seem to have not kicked on as much as the 2012 boys. Do you think?
Definitely not.
But anyway, that's another story. What do you think about Luke Campbell retiring?
It's bittersweet from Luke. He was a world-class amateur. He was an Olympic champion. He got a European bronze. He medaled basically most competitions, multi-nations winner so many times. He was brought in with AJ. He was meant to be this next big golden child. He done TV. He had a great. He built up a great. He built a great kind of TV thing before he even went pro. So he had that. He had that. He had the viewing figure. He had people wanting to watch him. You look at his career. His career was as a professional, and you've been saying it for 2 years. He's a Commonwealth title in his mantle, but he's got absolutely millions of pounds in the bank. He got beat by Linares that probably should have beat if it would have been here, but that's not how it works. He fought Lomachenko. He made a lot of money. He had that big fight in Hull with Tommy. What would I call him? Tommy. What do you call him, Russell?
Coyle.
Tommy Coyle. So he had those nights, but it just didn't. His professional career just didn't satellite, Russell.
Commonwealth title on all he's got to show for it.
Yeah, and he made millions of pounds. I think the problem with him was that he was too conditioned to that computer style, that amateur style, that long lead hand for so long. It's so hard to
freakishly long arms, only for a lightweight. Freakish
and incredible. I loved his boxing style, even though it was very computer boxing, the way the amateurs was, and he was conditioned to that style for so long. It's so hard to get out of that. I think he was at the wrong weight for quite a lot. I think, he went from being a bantamweight amateur right up to lightweight right away. I think that didn't suit him. And I think he should have maybe worked around other coaches and just created more of a pro style. I think the message I'm trying to say is he spent too much time in the amateurs.
Yeah, he did. And that seems to be a damning indictment of it. But if you look up here, up at EIS, it's all on a plate for the minute, everything. They don't have to worry about anything. Food, tracksuits, housing, cars, petrol, insurance, facilities, travel. It's all took care of, isn't it? They've got it all on a plate. So why would you want to give that up to go on a ticket deal with some poxy promoter who just wants to rinse you?
You're absolutely right. You look at the Olympics now, and it's like, oh, he's in for a medal and he's doing great. Well, that's their jobs. That's their jobs to do that. They're on probably 40,000 a year and they pay for nothing. That's their job to do that. So you're absolutely right. It's not like it was back in the 70s and 80s where guys going to the Olympics had to get 4 weeks off work to go and train in their home clubs. But that's completely different. But I liked Luke Campbell. I liked watching him. He was one of my favorite boxers. Maybe it's because I liked his style. I think he just spent that bit of time, too much time in the amateurs. I thought he could have done a wee bit more in his last fight if he had pushed it a bit earlier. But Russell, he's made a fortune, absolute fortune.
Yeah, he lives in a £1 million house near Humber Bridge near sea. He's loaded. Good luck to him. But he's not paying my bills, so fuck him.
No.
Right. What the fucking like?
Savage.
I had a bit of a discussion yesterday with somebody. They were going on about this football player that's going to leave his team. You know, Grealish is going to leave some team and he's going to this other team. This guy, this Aston Villa fan, we're going on and on. So I said, let me just stop you there, Neil. Is he paying your bills? He went, no. So I said, well, fuck him. And I got in my car and I drove off. And that's how you've got to look at it. Because I used to be one of them. I used to get so revved up about sport and this and that. And then, now, especially football, if Liverpool got beaten. I mean, I wanted to kill Michael Thomas in 1989 because I used to live in London at the time. And there were a lot of Arsenal fans working at this fruit machine place that I worked in when I was a teenager. And I remember that season, Liverpool were chasing and they were 20 points behind at one point. They hunted them down. It went to the last game, didn't it? And Arsenal needed a 2-0 win and they got it. And I wanted to kill that Michael Thomas. I wanted to kill Ref. I wanted to, And now I just think, what we're doing, it's just sport, isn't it? There's another game next week or next month. And these people, they don't care about the fans. They don't care. They don't care. And boxing's worse than football because footballers don't come out and use the mouth. Boxing, we've got lie after lie after lie. These people don't, we'll give 7 million to charity and the fight's on. The Saudis have rung me. Me and Joshua are going to fight and all that. Look, these people are born fucking liars. Don't invest in them because they won't fucking invest in you. That's how I look at it anyway. I might be harsh, but...
Russell, what's your opinion on this whole Conor Benn COVID thing? Do you think they didn't want to put him on because they didn't sell any tickets and they couldn't afford to pay him?
Do you know what it is with me, right? I'm anti-establishment and I always go the opposite, don't I? So I'm just going to say this. Normally, I'd put my boxing hat on and I'd say, I don't believe it. Because I've heard that much and I've seen it up that close since 2015. I hear things and I go, no, I don't believe it. It's bollocks. Oh, they're negative. This is what Dennis would say. Oh, they're negative. Dennis, I don't believe it until I see him in ring. Other than that, it's shite talk. And that's how it got me eventually. It gets you like that. Eddie Hearn says it makes you bitter. Maybe I might have got bitter. I don't believe anything I say. I don't believe anything I hear no more. If somebody says to me, Conor Benn's got COVID, first thing in my head, my spider sense starts tingling and I just think, no, it's bollocks. We've got all this high-tech equipment and the testing every day and all that. And yet he's got COVID. I just don't believe anything that I'm told anymore because it's just full of liars and vagabonds and charlatans. I don't believe it. It's just bullshit. So I don't believe it. But if he has got it, I hope he's all right because I've had it and it was fucking horrible, mate. And I don't want it again. But I just don't believe anything that these fuckers say anymore. I'm just sorry. I just don't believe it.
I'm the same. When I looked into the fight camp there at the weekend, I'm like, there's nobody here. And I'm thinking, I don't think they could afford to pay. I don't think it's that they couldn't afford to pay his purse. I think now that they are in control of everything, it would have been too much money for what they sold.
He's on 100 grand a fight, he's on it. He's on 100 grand a fight, mate. 100 grand a fight. Boazzi's on 160. Boazzi's fucking garbage. We've been sold this dream that he's Andre Ward. Load of bollocks. Virgil Hunter won't win a world title with him unless they buy a regular belt. They won't do it, mate. Virgil Hunter's only had Andre Ward as a world champion. He's not had another world champion.
No.
Conor Benn will not win a world title unless they do a WBA regular like Lee would. Conor Benn will not get a world title. While he's got an hole in his arsehole. And he can say what he wants. I know he had a dig at me in an interview saying, oh, people saying I'm English level. Well, if you're not English level, what fucking level are you, Conor Benn? Because you've not won an English belt, but I'm saying you're English level. I'm doing you a favour. You've not won a British, a Commonwealth, or a European, but yet you're world ranked, but yet you haven't won a fucking English level belt. He haven't won an area, has he?
No.
Won an area. So, but yet, how dare I say that? How dare I? Fucking hell. How dare I say Conor Benn's English level? And a lot of people at Boxing Asylum started to piss me off last night because they're all coming out with this Conor Benn hype. He's not won fuck all. Go and look at his box rec. He's won fuck all.
Nothing.
Don't be fucking telling me he's fucking... Yeah, he might have improved, but he hasn't won fuck all, so we can't judge him yet. The fucking jury's out, and I was a bit disappointed with Ozzie Smith there. He seemed to have his fucking head up Conor Benn's arsehole. I thought it were embarrassing from Ozzie, that, to be honest. But it's my opinion, and he's a mate, Ozzie, but Conor Benn's won fuck all. Come back to me, Ozzie, when he's won something. When he's beat Chris Jenkins, what's that other kid who's a Suma or something?
Atkinson.
Yeah. Atkinson. Chris Conger. Go fucking fight somebody like that. David Evenese.
Chris
champion. Yeah. Chris McKinson. Go fight one
Lewis
of them.
Crockart.
Yeah, Lewis, the Irish kid, yeah. Go beat one of them, Conor Benn, then fucking come back and tell me what level you're at. Till then, fuck off. Well, you fucking ain't even got an area belt. You're a journeyman. Fuck off.
You know, he was on TV last week saying, yeah, I'm in me an our top boy again. And I'm like, what? I think he's deluding himself that he's actually world level now. I think he's hearing so much nonsense. He's deluding himself.
He's being gassed up. I think Conor Benn needs to turn heat down on his heated seats. Yeah, I've got a Range Rover with heated seats, bruv. Fucking heated seats. I had an XR3. Fucking when I was fucking 1992, I had a sunburst red XR3 Escort. That had fucking heated seats. When everybody had a fucking Ford Cortina and a Cavalier. Vauxhall Cavalier had an XR3 with heated seats. Well, fuck off with your heated seats. You didn't invent heated seats.
Connor, turn the heat down and your heated seat because you'll get piles.
Me a fucking favour. It won't be long before Conor Benn's hanging out at back of Bricktop. Trust me. Yeah. My dad was with Frank. Yeah. My dad finished his career with Frank. Yeah. Team Frank. Yeah. Frank all the way. He's been doing it years. Yeah. Frank, bruv. That's fucking you watch, mate. Soon as Eddie Earns used and abused him, Bricktop will wheel him out and he'll be, I should have gone with Frank from the beginning. That's what my dad said. Remember this fucking interview, all you hardcore boxing fans that I've just had with Ken. You remember it. That's what will happen. They change the fucking mind like the wind. Be like Derek Chisora hanging out of the back of Bricktop at the Joyce fight. Did you see him? Derek Chisora, you should be embarrassed after everything that you were saying about Bricktop. And now look at you, hanging out the back of him. Unbelievable, man. Horse. Fucking brass. Anyway, run over. What else was on the agenda that we need to talk about, Kent?
Well, British Boxing Board of Control, they seem to be doing a lot for the bigger promoters. What have they done for small hall with all these COVID restrictions? Do you think that the British Boxing Board of Control have destroyed small hall boxing?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I do think so. Yeah, they're not doing anything for small hall, are they? All they're doing is dipping their hands into biscuit barrel for big boys. They don't give a fuck about small hall boxing board of control. They're not bothered. But if I see any of them, when these shows start up round here, if I see any of these board at this show, Charlie Giles, Robert Smith, they're getting fucking drenched. If I've had a drink and they're in front of me, they're getting drenched. I do not give a fuck about them. Because they've had the noses in the trough for far too long and they need to fuck off. Whatever they've had hard at job, consider it severance pay. Take the train, get out of Dodge City. I just want them gone, mate. And we need somebody to come on board with some dough who's willing to take these fuckers on, who's got a lawyer on a retainer and let us set about these fuckers. That's what it needs.
Did they even put a COVID package, like a survival package together for them to help them?
No.
Nothing.
They haven't done nothing, mate. They haven't done nothing. They couldn't even get, when everybody got furloughed, all these businesses and that. I know what goes on because I know loads of people. Well, I know loads of people that have been furloughed. They couldn't even fucking deal with anything like that. They're that illiterate. But they've got such a bad name with government because they've been taking all the time. Take. That's all they ever do, take. And they're just not to be trusted, mate. They're not to be trusted. It's an old boys club and it needs busting wide open. They all need to be gone. They're all walking around thinking everybody's fucking pals, thinking they're a star at these shows. No fucker likes them. I've been in many a dressing room when they walk in and they shake everybody's hand and ask if everybody's all right and smiling and joking in the fucking 1980s suits with kipper ties. They walk out and everybody goes, fucking wankers. Fucking them cunts coming in here. No fucker likes them. They need to fuck off out of the sport while they still can. Because if my head goes, it'll be on news at fucking 10, mate. They need to go. They need to fucking go, mate. People, these fuckers are killing the sport, mate. This is why the
destroyed it.
These are the look. Whenever there's a problem, if these have a problem, we pack these packed for Coca-Cola. These like South Yorkshire packaging. It's Coca-Cola's massive. They do everything. There's not just Coca-Cola. There's all sorts of other drinks. If there's a problem, like they've had COVID problems at factory, what they do, they sit everybody down. It starts from the top and it filters down. The book stops with the fucking board, same as the book stops with these. 20 people get sent home with COVID or got to isolate. They get people in from an agency and Kevin has to delegate from the top. It starts with him here, right? And these fuckers here at board, what are they fucking doing? They're not delegating. They're doing fuck all. They don't know what they're fucking doing. They don't know what they're doing, mate. It's like we're all on Titanic. Robert Smith's the fucking Smith, the white bearded guy on the Titanic. He's mixing, he's playing the hostess. They've got Charlie fucking Giles. He's in the bird's nest and he's got no binoculars. It's a catastrophe of events, isn't it? It's a knock-on effect. We're heading for a fucking iceberg, aren't we? That's where we're heading. And they've let all these YouTubers come in and they give Eddie Hearn carte blanche and all that. But now they're crying about it now, aren't they? Now they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. They're crying about it because they've realised that money is the end game for boxing, but throw social media into the mix and it's a potent bomb, isn't it? It is. I mean, for example, Big John Fury, big fighting man. It's all about legacy. We're going to win a British title with Tommy. Ooh, soon as they get a sniff of Logan Paul, they're off to America. Forget British titles. You know what I mean? Tommy probably just wants to get away from his old man anyway. But point I want to make is these fuckers have created this problem by letting that fucking show happen in Manchester. Do you remember that show a couple of years ago? The KSI one, wasn't it?
Disgraceful.
Shocking. They allowed it to happen, didn't they, right? They've allowed it to happen. And now, they're left holding the baby, aren't they now? Now they're like, what have we done? Oh, no. Because it's in a fucking mess, isn't it? It's a free-for-all now, isn't it?
You know, these YouTubers are getting board licenses when there's seasoned amateurs on a waiting list that can't get a license who actually come from a boxing background. It's an absolute disgrace. You know, the very fact that the only thing they did for the small hall promoters was they didn't charge them for like 6 months of their license, but they didn't give them a package. They didn't give them regulations that meant they could get X amount of people into shows. It just seems to me, Russell, that the big promoters like Matchroom and Queensbury are getting bigger, but the guys at the bottom, the small hall guys, are getting more smaller.
Can I just add the prick who fucking sent me an email saying, Porky, why are you putting billboards up? Fucking saying Dennis Hobson's putting white collar on. Dennis has had quite a lot of people sign with him who are ex-white collar, so that's why I put it up, mate. But it's none of your fucking business what I do. And then you're going on about me promoting John Fury and Mickey Fio on my channel. Let me just say this to you. Dennis is a registered professional boxing promoter, putting white collar fights on, or white collar boxing level that sort of standard on. He's got a promoter's license as a professional boxing promoter. John Fury and Mickey Fio don't own a board license. All right, mate. So get your fucking facts right, you prick. If you want to challenge me, come on here, fucking prick. Yeah, go on. You were saying.
So that it just seems to be that the bigger promoters now are bigger and stronger than ever. I remember that the small hall scene used to be thriving. You looked at Boxing News at the results every weekend, and you seen 6-7 shows up and down the country. I think it's going to have a real knock-on effect this next couple of years on the professional scene.
I do, mate. Listen, mate, I speak to kids now, right, and they don't want to do boxing now. All they want to do is iPads. They don't want to do sport. I've got the same problem with my kids. They don't want to do now. They don't want to do now. I go get my kids. I say, come on, taking this dog out up woods. No, we're on Roblox. You know that Roblox game that they play? Dad, we want £18.49 for Roblox. So you are? Yeah, £18.49. Okay, how long does that last? It lasts them 5 minutes. They don't want to do that. They're like fucking slugs, aren't the kids? but boxing is dying on its arse, but we're going to save it. I don't know how though.
We're trying.
Well, we just want what's right, don't we, for the sport, don't we?
You know, it's the knock-on effect of kids not turning over from amateur because there's no other. Maybe, you know, the small hall guys would have signed to kids that maybe weren't ABA championship level, and they would turn pro with a small hall promoter, build themselves up. Those kids now aren't going to get the chance because there isn't as much small hall, and the filter professionals isn't going to come through. What's going to come through is this reality flipping YouTube, and that's what's going to happen this next couple of years. And it's going to totally dilute the sport. This celebrity YouTube boxing is going to really hurt the sport this next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm hearing stories that Gordon Ramsay is shaping up for a fight. Oh my. Aye.
Gordon Ramsay, the man that said he played for Glasgow Rangers.
Did he?
In his autobiography. No, he said he played for Glasgow Rangers as a kid and he signed for them. And it turned out he played like a charity match with his mates and they got Rangers tops and he put it in his book. I was called out on it. Check it out. I can't be bothered with Gordon Ramsay, to be honest.
Yeah, well, fuck him. He don't pay my bills either.
Yeah, who cares about Gordon Ramsay? I'm looking at sanctioning bodies at the minute, Russell, and I've been just looking around and I see the WBC Bridgerweight. Alan Bobbage rated number 5 in that division. What do you think?
I don't understand this. It's not even a fucking good name, is it? That I know they've named it after some guy who died or some Anthony or whatever, but I think it just should be called light cruiser or super cruiser, or they should do something around that, shouldn't they? Really? Or I don't know. Alan Babbage, it is a disaster waiting to happen as soon as he fights somebody any good in it. Why don't they put him in with Wardley?
Yeah, exactly. It just seems to be, Russell, it's the WBC trying to create their own divisions now and just make more money. It's from £200 up to £224. Do you reckon any of the other sanctioning bodies will take on this division?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. What do you think? I think that the WBO will. Look, if it's WBC you're on about, aren't you?
Yeah.
if the WBC put Babbitt in a bridgerweight fight, right, and there's a market for it, all the others will follow because they're whores. Whores always do. You see them walking down the street, one whore, then there's another whore, and before you know where you are, they're all lined up down Thorn Road in Doncaster, red light area. Whores, mate. They go where the money is, and that's what boxing is. It's a whore industry. So
we've got wait for this. So WBA, we've been we've been critical of WBA for so much, and the more you hear about the WBA, you're like, the less credible it is as a title.
yeah.
Sergio Martinez is rated number 3 in the WBA middleweight rankings.
Martinez is about 48, isn't he?
Yes.
How's that? How's that work? My aging. Who's he fighting next? Oh, don't tell me.
Brian Rose.
Brian Rose. Brian Rose has been shot to death for 10 years. Shot to pieces. What? Who's Brian? Is he still with MTK, Brian Rose?
I don't think he is, no. I don't think he is.
Jesus. Whoever's advising Brian Rose, whatever money you've had out boxing, consider it severance pay. Take the train, get the fuck out of Dodge. Go now while you can.
And yeah. I noticed last night as well the heavyweight rankings. So we've got remember this, Mark Demore.
Oh, you fought David A.
Yeah, learned to box on YouTube. He has appeared from the abyss of nowhere and come in at WBA heavyweight ranking number 10.
Fucking, is that how learned to fight on YouTube?
Yeah, so don't be surprised if Daniel Dubois fights him next as his interim or whatever, that interim regular, whatever belt.
While he protects his position with WBA.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen there next. It's crazy, Russell, how these names just randomly appear in and out of the WBA rankings. Like, they had Tim Lovejoy, ranked in the top 15 when he hadn't beat anybody like last year.
Well, it wasn't so long ago that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn were saying that Mark Demore was shocking and that he shouldn't be given a license, but yet they'd soon be quick to put their charges in with him, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen next with their fight. What is your how do you feel about the Liam Smith Anthony Fowler fight, Russell? How do you find that?
I think Liam Smith beats him to a pulp comfortably. Beats him to a pulp. I don't know what you think about it. Fowler, right, couldn't do no with Dossa overnight, could he? Couldn't do nothing with that guy. Couldn't. Obviously, he got him out there in the end, but he hit him with that many punches. The guy was still there, wasn't he? So he's not an Iceman, is it? Liam Smith's got a good chin on it, and he's more seasoned than Fowler, I think. So I see Liam Smith beating him comfortably at all 8 stoppage. That's my opinion. But then again, I got that wrong overnight, didn't I?
Yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good domestic. As I said before, we're going to see a lot more domestic fights with the zone because they don't want to pay for these international fighters coming over and paying for travel and stuff. So it kind of reminds me a wee bit, it's a Liverpool derby. It kind of reminds me a wee bit of Shane Neary and Andy Halligan back when they fought in 98.
Oh, God, you're getting a bit nostalgic now, aren't you? You'll be going
in the marquee.
You'll be going on about Paul Hodgkinson next. Remember him?
Yeah, he actually trained in Belfast. When he was WBC world champion, he trained in Eastwood's gym and lived and stayed in Belfast at the time. So
Tony Dodson trained over there for Froch fight, didn't he?
Yes, he trained in. He trained for a while, Russell, because I was in and out of the Holy Family at that time, and he trained a bit with Jerry. Jerry at that time, Jerry Story, was like a Barry Hearn coach. He was a matchroom coach, so he had all the fight. Basically, Jerry got all the troublemakers were sent over to Jerry over here, And Jerry, you know, he had a hostel for them to stay in, and a hotel hostel type place on the docks. And used to go down and get them in the morning, take them out for runs and stuff. But I never met Tony at that time. I was in and out of the gym at that time. But I remember I used to get fighters like Michael Ayers used to come over and live for 12 weeks to get away from London. And we used to look after Michael and stuff, and they were good times. But yeah, it's going to be a good domestic fight, and I hope more. That's what's been wrong this last couple of years. We've had less and less big domestic fights, and I hope there's more.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, listen, we've had a good hour plus. I've enjoyed it. I hope you're well, Kent. You're always a good addition to the Porky Express train.
The hardcore is hardcore.
Ken, do you like that, Ken? You know, when you're walking around Northern Ireland today in your cronk top, if people ask you your name, just say I'm Kent, the hardcore's hardcore. I'm
actually starting to say that to my mates and stuff. And do you know what? Whoever said that, whoever christened us that, you're gonna have to copyright that now, because we don't want somebody else using it.
Copyright. Kent, the hardcore's hardcore. Okay then. Well, listen. Thanks for coming on, Ken. Have a great day, and we will
enjoyed it
soon. All right. Peace out, mate.
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye. Well, that was Kent, the hardcore's hardcore from Belfast in Northern Ireland. He loves his boxing. He keeps me on my toes. So, well, 9:15. I think it's time to do a bit. So peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep supporting boxing. All right. Don't have nightmares. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment and share the video on your WhatsApp if you get a chance. If not, don't tell me you're hardcore. Peace out.